The scariest thing for a narcissist is not your rage, not your anger, and not even your confrontation, but your total lack of interest. By the time this video ends, you will understand why this idea flips everything you thought you knew about toxic relationships. Many people focus on getting angry, on fighting back, on proving themselves, but the real power lies in stepping away from emotional feeding. When you stop reacting, when you cultivate your own quiet strength, you create something they cannot control. This isn't about revenge or punishment, it's about reclaiming your own life and your own mental space, and that is far more terrifying to them than any outburst. If you have ever been caught in a narcissist's web, you know the exhaustion that comes with it. You feel drained, lied to, and manipulated, constantly questioning your own thoughts and feelings. Every interaction leaves a lingering tension that makes you wonder if you are overreacting or imagining things. What most people miss, however, is the subtle shift that happens when you start reclaiming your power. There comes a point when the balance of control flips, often before you even realize it. At this moment, the narcissist begins to panic, sensing that they are losing their influence, while you quietly build strength, stability, and freedom. There are 7 unmistakable signs that show you have not only survived a narcissist, but have quietly outgrown them. This isn't just survival. It's a form of victory that they can see even if you don't fully recognize it yet. Each of these signs represents a profound shift that disrupts their carefully constructed world. Pay close attention because the 5th sign will completely change how you view your own recovery. And the 7th sign is the one that causes a total mental breakdown for a narcissist, leaving them unable to comprehend how they lost control so thoroughly. Recognizing these signs can validate your journey and show you just how far you've come. The first sign is that your quietness becomes their greatest fear. Narcissists live by emotional feeding. They thrive on tension, reactions, and chaos from others to maintain a sense of control and self-importance. When you reach a point of true mental distance, your silence is not a tactic, a weapon, or an attempt at punishment. It is a natural reflection of your independence. You no longer feel the need to justify your actions or explain yourself. You exist on your own terms, stable and unshakable. Your quietness creates a void they cannot fill, a space where their usual tools of manipulation simply fail, leaving them frustrated and powerless. The second sign is that their enablers and supporters begin to leave. Narcissists often surround themselves with people who orbit their world, reinforcing lies and perpetuating their control. When you achieve true independence, the conflict that once held these people close disappears. Others start to notice patterns of trouble following the narcissist, realizing that you were never the source of the chaos. Gradually, these enablers step back, their loyalty shifting as they see the reality for themselves. The narcissist watches helplessly as their support system crumbles, exposing them in a way they cannot control. This shared awakening among others leaves them isolated, struggling to maintain the illusion of power that once seemed untouchable. The third sign is that they start to imitate your path to growth. Narcissists often attempt empty imitation. They can copy appearances, words, or actions, but genuine inner change is beyond their reach. When they witness you gaining strength, confidence, and mental clarity, they attempt to mirror your steps superficially. They may talk about self-improvement, therapy, or finding peace, but it is only a performance. True growth requires facing hard truths, doing internal work, and transforming from the inside out, something they cannot do. Their mimicry is not about becoming better. It is about trying to regain control over someone who has already moved beyond their influence, demonstrating a subtle panic that is both revealing and telling. The fourth sign is that their attempts to pull you back fail completely. Narcissists rely on emotional manipulation to keep people trapped in their orbit. But once you have established boundaries and self-reliance, their usual tactics lose power. No guilt, anger, or dramatic outburst can shake you. You no longer respond in predictable ways, leaving them frustrated and confused. Attempts to provoke jealousy, fear, or compliance fall flat because you are no longer tethered to their narrative. This failure erodes their sense of authority and control. For the first time, they encounter a barrier they cannot manipulate, and their repeated efforts only reinforce the reality that you are no longer accessible mentally or emotionally on their terms. The most desperate move a narcissist makes is trying to pull you back into their world. They will throw every trick at you. Fake apologies, sudden memories from the past, emotional manipulations, or unexpected claims of love. These attempts are carefully designed to provoke a reaction, to make you feel obligated, guilty, or nostalgic. But when you have reached true mental independence, none of these tricks work. They don't just fail, you don't even notice them. You see right through the act because you have built a shield around your mind. You don't feel anger, you don't feel hope, and you don't even feel satisfaction. You feel nothing at all, and that lack of reaction is their greatest fear. This emptiness, the absence of an emotional response, is what destroys their control. Narcissists feed off reactions, and when there are none, they are left without their usual sense of dominance. Being ignored is more terrifying to them than confrontation because it signals that they no longer occupy a place in your mental or emotional world. They can manipulate, charm, and provoke endlessly, but once they realize they hold no sway over you, their world begins to unravel. What seems like calm detachment on your part is actually a powerful form of control over them. Your indifference is not passive, it is a sign of total victory in silence, and it shakes them in ways nothing else could. The fifth sign that you have truly gained the upper hand is that they become mentally invisible to you. At this point, you are no longer thinking about them, planning around them, or even trying to avoid them. They simply fade from your mind. This is not a conscious effort. It happens naturally as you reclaim your attention and energy. Meanwhile, the narcissist can sense the void you have created. They feel the loss of importance, the absence of influence, and it terrifies them. This invisible barrier is impossible for them to penetrate, and their reactions often become more desperate and irrational as they try harder to reclaim a place in your thoughts, only to fail spectacularly. The sixth sign is that their lies, gossip, and attempts to ruin your reputation turn into background noise. Once, their words may have caused anxiety, doubt, or embarrassment, but now you are untouchable. You are no longer defending yourself because you are living your life fully, authentically, and peacefully. People begin to notice the patterns themselves. The chaos follows them, not you. Slowly, those around you start to see the truth for themselves. The attempts at manipulation no longer stick, and the false narratives crumble on their own. Real peace, it turns out, is much louder than any lie. You don't need to argue or justify yourself. Your life speaks volumes. The seventh sign, the most powerful of all, is the total collapse of their mental control. They cannot accept that you exist beyond their influence. The silence, the invisibility, the refusal to react, these strip them of the energy they once relied upon. Every attempt to provoke, guilt, or seduce fails. They may escalate, creating drama in a desperate effort to feel relevant. But the harder they try, the clearer it becomes that they have lost. At this point, you have achieved what they cannot. True freedom, your mind, your emotions, and your life belong entirely to you, and that is the one thing a narcissist fears more than anything else in the world. The lies a narcissist spreads about you fail spectacularly because people can sense the desperation behind them. They see the contrast clearly, you living quietly, steadily, and peacefully, while the narcissist is shouting into an empty room, frantically trying to reclaim control. This leads to the seventh and most powerful sign, the final blow that shatters their sense of dominance. At this stage, the narcissist experiences what can be described as a mental collapse. Their entire identity depends on control, manipulation, and the ability to influence others. When that power vanishes, their carefully constructed self-image crumbles, leaving them exposed, unstable, and unable to comprehend a world where they no longer hold sway. This seventh sign, their mental collapse, is profound because it reveals the truth about their existence. Without control over others, they are left with a hollow sense of self. Their personality, carefully built on manipulation, begins to fall apart. You have not just survived, you have unknowingly dismantled the structure that kept them alive. They may react with frantic behavior, instability, or even risky attempts to regain influence, but none of it works. Your emotional detachment and independence make it impossible for them to reclaim their power. This is the ultimate victory. You are safe, free, and thriving, while they struggle to maintain a sense of identity that no longer exists. The remarkable part of this process is that your recovery does more than just set you free. It reveals the truth to everyone around you. Others begin to see the narcissist for what they really are. This does not happen because of a desire for revenge, but simply because your life has become an undeniable proof of authenticity. Living fully, calmly, and peacefully shines a light on the lies they have told. Your growth demonstrates the contrast between genuine strength and manipulation, and everyone around you begins to recognize it. The narcissist's words lose all weight, and their attempts at deception become irrelevant. You are no longer in their story, and the truth becomes evident without your intervention. The biggest revelation is that a narcissist's deepest fear is not your anger or hate. It is your health, your stability, and your independence. When you are thriving, it proves that every negative story they ever told about you was false. This is the ultimate form of power over them. You are no longer reacting, no longer trapped, no longer defined by their distortions. Showing all 7 signs is a demonstration of total mental freedom. You are no longer just surviving. You have become your own master. Your thoughts, your energy, and your choices are entirely yours, and that reality terrifies them in ways they cannot articulate or comprehend. The beauty of this journey is that you likely didn't even realize you were winning while it happened. You were focused on your own growth, on healing, and on reclaiming your life. You were learning, evolving, and becoming the person you were always meant to be. True freedom is not about confrontation or conflict. It is about becoming so fully yourself that the narcissist simply disappears from your mental landscape. They know they have lost, even if you did not see it at the time. Your focus was never on them. It was on building a life that reflects your values, your boundaries, and your inner strength. As your recovery progresses, the narcissist becomes a ghost of the past rather than a force in your present. You stop seeking their approval and begin trusting your own instincts again. This transformation is quiet. It often occurs on an ordinary day when you notice you haven't thought about them all day. The shift is subtle but undeniable. Deep pain becomes a teacher, and the lessons you learn from surviving this relationship create a level of resilience few ever experience. You develop the ability to identify manipulation, protect your peace, and stand alone without loneliness. These skills are permanent, and they are yours to keep. The narcissist may attempt to find someone else to control, but they cannot reclaim the wisdom you gained. You are now the author of your own story, and the chapter involving them is complete. You do not owe them a front row seat to your new life. Guilt or hesitation has no place here. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your growth, and to your well-being. By remaining healthy, grounded, and joyful, you are demonstrating the one thing they can never understand: living a life rooted in truth. This is the final victory, a life shaped by authenticity rather than manipulation. Moving forward, keep your attention on your own path. The more energy you invest in your light, your dreams, and your purpose, the further the shadows of the past fall behind you. By choosing yourself, you have already won the hardest battle. Peace, stability, and joy are no longer goals. They are the natural consequences of the life you are building. Once free from a toxic presence, the focus shifts entirely from what the narcissist is doing to what you are creating. The next stage is self-discovery. Exploring your passions, understanding your worth, and moving steadily toward your true potential. For a long time, the narcissist tried to convince you that you were broken or incapable of thriving without them. They wanted to keep you trapped in confusion, feeding their need for control. But as you step fully into your independence, the energy once spent on conflict now fuels your dreams, your goals, and your personal growth. You stop seeking approval and begin listening to your own intuition. This stage often arrives quietly, without dramatic confrontation or arguments. It might hit you on an ordinary Tuesday when you realize you haven't thought about them for hours, even a whole day. That is the power of mental freedom manifesting naturally. Through this process, the lessons you learned create a permanent resilience. You now recognize lies quickly, protect your peace effectively, and stand independently without fear. The narcissist may continue seeking someone else to control, but your wisdom is untouchable. You are now the author of your story, closing the chapter with clarity and strength. Living in your truth demonstrates the stark contrast between real growth and manipulation. You have reclaimed your life entirely. Your only responsibility is to yourself, and by staying grounded, healthy, and joyful, you embody the one thing a narcissist can never understand: authenticity. Your focus now is entirely on your own journey. Each step forward strengthens your light and diminishes the shadows of the past. You have already won the most difficult battle simply by choosing yourself, by prioritizing your well-being, and by reclaiming your mental and emotional freedom. Understanding the 7 signs of victory shifts your perspective completely. The story is no longer about the narcissist's actions, but about your growth, independence, and strength. True recovery is not about revenge. It is about becoming whole, becoming yourself, and moving forward with clarity, peace, and confidence. This part of your journey is no longer about the narcissist at all. It is about rediscovering the pieces of yourself that you had to hide just to survive. For so long, your true preferences, dreams, and feelings were buried under the pressure to accommodate someone else's demands and moods. Now, by stepping back from that constant reaction, you finally create the space to listen to your own heart. You begin to notice what truly makes you happy, what gives you a sense of safety, and what goals you genuinely want to pursue without anyone pulling you back. This is the moment you start rebuilding your life on your own terms, slowly and intentionally. As you reconnect with yourself, you may notice subtle changes in everyday life. Your hobbies and interests might shift toward what genuinely excites you. Your friendships deepen with people who respect your boundaries, and your mental space becomes noticeably lighter. The heavy weight of the narcissist's drama no longer clouds your thoughts. Instead of waking up in anticipation of someone else's unpredictable moods, you wake up considering how you want to spend your day. This quiet shift signifies profound healing. You are moving from a place of fear to one of power, and the inner strength you cultivate cannot be taken away or undermined by anyone else. With this newfound strength, the narcissist's attempts to maintain relevance fade into irrelevance. Their cycle of manipulation continues elsewhere, but it no longer concerns you. You have learned the patterns, recognized the red flags, and developed a resilience that prevents you from being fooled again. Your pain has been transformed into a shield, and your confusion into wisdom. This chapter of life is now focused entirely on staying true to yourself, setting boundaries that you actually uphold, and surrounding yourself with people who value the authentic you. The freedom you feel is not just temporary, it is a permanent shift that changes how you approach the world. Your independence also allows you to explore your life in ways that were impossible under their control. Energy that was once spent on navigating their moods and manipulations can now fuel your passions, your creativity, and your personal growth. You stop looking for approval and begin trusting your own instincts again. This transition is often quiet and subtle. It might happen on a random day when you suddenly notice you haven't thought about them all morning or even all day. That realization is more powerful than any confrontation or argument. It is proof that your mental freedom is complete, and the narcissist has lost their hold over you entirely. As you continue on this path, the lessons learned from surviving become permanent tools for growth. You now have the ability to recognize lies quickly, protect your peace effectively, and stand alone without loneliness. You are fully capable of making decisions for yourself, and no one can take this wisdom away. The narcissist may attempt to control others, but they can never undo the understanding and resilience you have gained. You are now the author of your story, free to close the chapter that involved them. Your life is no longer dictated by their presence. It is guided by your values, your choices, and your truth. By focusing on yourself, you naturally attract healthier, more authentic relationships. You are no longer drawn to drama or chaotic dynamics because you have discovered the deeper rewards of calm, respect, and stability. What you carry inside yourself begins to reflect in your surroundings. The inner peace you cultivate brings opportunities, connections, and joy into your daily life. You are building a foundation so strong that external pressures cannot shake it. Your growth creates a ripple effect, shaping a life where honesty, clarity, and balance are the guiding forces. The past loses its grip, and the future becomes yours to shape intentionally. The final stage of this evolution is about understanding your place in the broader human experience. When trapped in a narcissistic relationship, it often feels like you are isolated on a private island of chaos and manipulation. But as you heal, you begin to see that your experience is part of a larger story shared by many. You are not alone in facing deceit, control, and psychological struggle. Recognizing that your journey is part of a collective human experience fosters empathy, perspective, and a sense of connection. You begin to understand that personal healing contributes not just to your life, but to the broader rhythm of growth and truth that touches everyone. In this stage, you fully embrace the complexity of being human. You realize that you do not have to sacrifice one side of yourself to accommodate others. You can be kind yet firm, gentle yet strong, and multidimensional without compromise. The highs and lows of the past no longer dictate your present. Instead, you move through life with balance and confidence, guided by clarity rather than manipulation. Every step forward reflects your growth, wisdom, and autonomy. By reclaiming your life, you transform painful endings into beginnings filled with potential, purpose, and a deep, unshakable sense of self. When you share your healing, it does more than benefit yourself. It quietly influences the world around you. Your recovery becomes a form of subtle activism. By existing as a healthy, grounded, and happy person, you show others that breaking the cycle of abuse and reclaiming your life is not only possible but achievable. Every decision you make to protect your energy, to maintain your boundaries, and to prioritize your well-being serves as a living example. You become proof that liberation is real. This influence is powerful, even if unseen. Simply by thriving, you inspire those around you to recognize their own strength and to see that true peace comes from within. As you continue to step further into this freedom, you develop a deep psychological resilience. This resilience allows you to move through life with an open heart while keeping your spirit protected. You no longer feel the need to build thick walls to shield yourself from others because you have cultivated the wisdom to know who truly belongs in your inner circle. Your energy becomes a sacred resource that only you control. Deciding where to invest it is now yours alone. This sense of ownership over your own life is the ultimate reward. You have moved beyond the desire for revenge, realizing that your peace, joy, and growth are the only responses that truly matter. The narcissist may still exist somewhere, repeating the same patterns, but to you, they have become like a distant character from a story you once read. The details of their manipulations fade, and the emotional sting disappears. Your focus has shifted entirely from them to yourself. You have accepted your past, embraced your strength, and begun to trust your future. No longer are you defined by what happened to you. Instead, you are defined by how you chose to rise above it. You have transformed from being merely a survivor into someone who is actively creating their own life, free from the shadows of manipulation or fear. At this stage, you are the master of your own mind, the owner of your own heart, and the creator of your own happiness. You have stepped into a place of total clarity, where your past no longer dictates your present. The space once occupied by the narcissist's voice, rules, and fears is now filled with your own thoughts, your own priorities, and your own truths. Every moment of lost time now feels like a necessary training ground that prepared you to be the wise, grounded, and strong person you are today. Your happiness is now based on reality and authenticity, not on illusions or borrowed approval. This new chapter is marked by a calm that others will notice even without words. Your internal world is now organized, free from clutter, and filled with purpose. Because you have cleared out the mental chaos left by the narcissist, you have more energy to devote to work, hobbies, and relationships that truly matter. You are no longer waiting for the other shoe to drop, no longer constantly on edge or second-guessing yourself. You have built a sense of inner security that does not rely on anyone's approval. It is based on the knowledge that you survived extreme challenges and emerged stronger, wiser, and completely whole. Your life has become intentional, meaningful, and fully your own. Every choice you make now reflects your values and priorities, rather than the manipulations or expectations of others. The mental clarity you have cultivated allows you to see opportunities that were once invisible. You can focus on your growth, your passions, and the people who genuinely support you. You have stepped out of the shadow of the narcissist and into the sun of your own life. The lessons you learned have become your tools, and the peace you now hold is unshakable. This is the ultimate stage of freedom, where your happiness, strength, and clarity are entirely self-created and self-sustained. This is the essence of psychological victory. At the end of this journey, you realize that the narcissist's greatest failure was their inability to break your spirit. Their attempts to mold you into a reflection of their own darkness only pushed you to discover your own light. Through every challenge, every manipulation, and every moment of doubt, you quietly cultivated resilience, strength, and clarity. The fire they created in your life was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal the strength already within you. Now, standing on the other side of that fire, you can look back at the relationship not with pain or resentment, but with the understanding that it was a bridge to your truest self. You have walked through the chaos and emerged stronger, wiser, and more grounded than ever before. Your journey is proof of the human heart's capacity to heal and the mind's ability to remain free. You are no longer a passenger in someone else's drama. You are the hero of your own story. Every choice, every boundary you set, and every moment you reclaimed was a step toward self-sovereignty. You are no longer influenced by the lies, rules, or expectations of another. Instead, you are creating your life according to your own terms, with your own values guiding every decision. This is true freedom, the kind that cannot be taken from you. For a long time, the narcissist operated like an occupying force in your mind, dictating what you should feel, think, and believe about yourself. Now, you have evicted them entirely, and the space they occupied is being filled with your own authority, your own voice, and your own rules. You are rebuilding an inner kingdom, one where your choices, feelings, and actions are entirely yours. This is more than recovery. It is a total transformation in how you exist. You have outgrown the trap, mastered your own energy, and created a mental space that is untouchable. No one can manipulate, intimidate, or control you again. In this space of freedom, a remarkable shift begins to happen in your life. You notice meaningful coincidences, doors opening where walls once stood, and opportunities arriving at precisely the right time. This is synchronicity in action, the natural flow of life aligning with your intentions, because you are no longer wasting energy trying to fix or control someone else. You are fully available for the good things that want to find you. Your energy is no longer trapped in conflict or manipulation. Instead, it fuels growth, joy, and genuine connection. This effortless alignment is a reward far greater than any external validation could provide. This phase of your transformation is a deep form of self-ownership and sovereignty. You are now the sole ruler of your own mind, heart, and life. Every step you take is guided by clarity, intention, and truth. The strategies, manipulations, and lies you once faced no longer hold power over you. You recognize patterns quickly, set boundaries without hesitation, and walk through life with calm confidence. This mastery creates a foundation of stability that allows your relationships, work, and personal growth to thrive. Your independence is unshakable, and your inner world is fully aligned with the life you want to live. At this point, your journey becomes about flow and alignment rather than struggle. The energy that was once spent defending yourself, navigating chaos, or appeasing the narcissist is now available for creation, connection, and purpose. You find that people, opportunities, and circumstances begin to appear naturally, as if the universe itself is supporting your path. You are no longer fighting against obstacles imposed by someone else. You are moving with the natural rhythm of your own life. This ease, this sense of alignment, is the ultimate reward for the hard work of healing, and it marks the completion of your transformation.